Hey guys, Justin here at JHart Modelworks, coming to you with a bit of a bench update on the Challenger as well as a slight addendum to the chassis video. The interior is mostly done. We're going to go ahead and take a look at that. And during the chassis video in the comments section, Rob Smith asked, hey, can you do the rear sway bar for these cars because it's in none of the kits anywhere. And I didn't know that there even was a rear sway bar on these cars. I looked at a bunch of reference photos and there aren't any sway bars in any of the reference photos. But I went and I dug further, and it turns out that the AAR CUDA and the 70 TA Challenger had optional rear sway bars. And on the Challenger, it was not a very common option. So I kept digging. I saw the OEM sway bars as well as several of the aftermarket ones that have been created since. I'm like, okay, we can look at something like that, and my brain just would not let go of it. I got something that I'm really pretty happy with. It looks pretty OEM, it looks pretty accurate, and it's pretty much the kind of thing that a kit manufacturer would do if they were going to make the kit part. So we're going to go ahead and get this camera flipped around and take a look at what we got. Quick bench update on the Challenger itself. We're about 90% of the way done with our interior. Our door cards were almost done. Actually, door cards were done. I had the window cranks in place and I tossed them in my project box along with the seats and all the other parts without thinking about the fact that those resin window cranks are going to be very delicate, and yeah, they broke off. So I have a set that just finished printing. We've re-drilled those out so those holes are back into place. I'm going to get those painted up and glued back in, and then we will finish up with installing the door cards. Dashboard is done and looking nice and lovely. Our glass in place with all of our gauges in there from Best Model Car Parts. And we've gone and tweaked out the steering wheel. We've actually cut off the steering wheel and replaced the steering wheel because of course I did. Made a lot of modifications to this, well, 2 modifications of the steering column. Yeah, I designed ignition switches because that's what I do. So yeah, interior is just about done. I should have the interior actually finished up this weekend and start editing for next week. So I should have that video out soon. And let's go ahead and take a look at this sway bar. All right, guys, so here is what I came up with. It's pretty simple. This follows the pattern of the actual Mopar part, at least the one that I found online. Have small little mounts. In theory, they should go all the way around the axle, but the axle's already in place and I'm not trying to do all that. Originally, I had this weird, complicated design. Little posts that came out that had little mounts that like mounted on the axle or on the frame rails, like down there on that angled part of the frame. And then it had mounts that connected to it had like basically these style mounts that would connect onto the axle, but the actual sway bar itself would be free and loose inside all 4 of those mounts. And so you'd glue the mounts onto the frame. You'd actually fit the mounts onto the sway bar and then glue them onto the frame. The axle mounts had to be printed in place around the sway bar without touching the sway bar. And then, in theory, if you washed it properly and got all the resin out from between the parts and then you cured it, they wouldn't touch, so they would be separate parts and they'd be free, and none of it worked. And I finally stopped and I was like, Justin, you're making this way too complicated. None of this has to be functional. This axle is not moving. These leaf springs don't actually function. It doesn't need to actually rotate in place. So basically what I did was I approached it from the same mindset as, Revell or Tamiya or somebody would a kit part. The little frame mounting points are just there. These are the little posts, which are pretty much exactly how they would be on the actual sway bar. It has these little posts that come down and mount to the frame. So that's where we're at. We're going to take a little bit of CA glue and put a drop of CA. Not an ungodly amount, just a tiny little bit inside this mount. I'm just going to press that down. And now our Challenger has been optioned with the rear sway bar. Alright guys, that's going to be a wrap for this video. It's a pretty short video, not a lot to go over. I really just wanted to show you guys the sway bar. I've already finished the chassis video. I didn't want to add that into the interior video. Speaking of, by the time you see this, the interior tub will have already been fully assembled, and I will need to start editing on that video as well. Hopefully I'm going to get that video out next weekend. After that, we've got an engine bay video, which is going to include some interior stuff, because before you can work on the engine bay, you need to get the chassis on, which means you need to get the glass in, get the interior in place. So a little bit of interior, not a whole lot. So, but we've got some cool stuff for the engine bay section. 3D printed radiator that looks really cool. Battery, stuff like that. Wrap that portion up. After that, I think we're going to have one more video to like the odds and ends video, just to wrapping it up, license plates, registration stickers, tail lights, headlights, bumpers, stuff like that, and finish that build off. Hopefully we'll have the Challenger finished up in, I'm hoping, 2 to 3 weeks. We will see. After that, we've got the buddy build with Chris coming up on the main GT40s. I am excited. I have never built a main kit, so I don't know what I'm in for. I don't know how good these kits are, how bad these kits are. I don't know if I'm looking at fit issues or if it's, the next Tamiya. I have no idea what to expect from that main kit, so I'm kind of excited on that. Also, the GMA T50 should be getting shipped soon. I've seen a couple of hobby stores say that they've gotten their shipments in from Tamiya, so I'm hoping that gets shipped in. I am going to go ahead and unbox that as soon as I get it, because it is a brand new kit, and I want to seize on the excitement for it. So I'll probably get the unboxing done, but I won't start it until after the buddy build with Chris. The GMA T50 is going to be probably my last build series for this year. If I do anything else build-wise, it's probably going to be update builds. I also have the build with Livy for the 66 Mustang Fastback that she wants to do. I'm not sure how long that's going to take, because our schedules don't really align very well. We have little bits of time on the weekends. That's pretty much it. Otherwise, she's asleep when I'm awake. I'm awake, asleep when she's awake. We both work ungodly hours. But that's pretty much the plan for the bench coming forward for probably the rest of the year. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. As always, I appreciate you watching, and I will catch you guys on the next one.